Heavy Metallurgists, how you doing? My name is Brainsmasher, and I'm here to tell you about an album I'm excited about! It's the new album from Naked Whipper, Chapel Defilement, out on Iron Bonehead today. Check it out. January 31st, if this isn't today. Naked Whipper. This is the first time they have released new material since 1995. That's 30 years of dormancy for Germany's Naked Whipper. Pain Streaks came out in 95, and it was a glorious assault on all that was holy, and the band has been at rest for a really long time. But this feels like the perfect follow-up to that 90s classic. You may have seen it. This is kind of like an underground classic. The classic band name is kind of unforgettable. The Chris Moyen artwork is kind of iconic. But there's also a solid album behind all that lore too. Pain Streaks was really one of the first and maybe one of the best examples of black grind. And they draw their black metal influences from bands like Blasphemy and Barbarity, and a lot of that kind of cult sort of really monochromatic style of black metal. But they really also have quite a bit of influence in a lot of the punkier influenced sort of grind. And what I mean by that, sure, there's blast beats and skank parts and double bass parts and some kind of slower stuff. There's, pick scrapes across the guitars. But riff-wise, they really do a lot of the, pick a chord and be able to just kind of slide it all over the fretboard to write the riffs. And there's something so appealing, so carnal, and so satisfying about the way a guitar riff can be constructed by simply just sliding your stupid fingers all over the fretboard. It feels malevolent and violent, and this album just encapsulates that spirit so beautifully. There's also really an updated sound with this new album, Chapel Defilement. It has a very modern and sleek sort of approach to it. And I think that's really where I'm falling in love with this one. I like it better than Pain Streaks, honestly. But everything, clarity is all there. Everything sounds great. But it doesn't really lose any sense of that barbaric ferocity and savage, unholy necromancy that I need an album like this to have. We've been beating across the same bush, trying out the different Blasphemy ideas. And their influence has really been seen throughout a lot of different channels and bands and artists and scenes throughout the years to varying degrees of success. But this right here, for me, really scratches that itch perfectly. So if you're like me, you're kind of a Blasphemy dabbler. You might be getting a little bit of Black Witchery here and there, but don't necessarily, you don't buy all the die-hard Nuclear War Now releases of yada, 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 or have all the flags and all that kind of stuff. That's me. And so this one, I really love Pain Streaks from back in the day, but I was still a little apprehensive. I was like, can a band 30 years on really, carry the torch that they brandished back in 1995, 30 years later? But man, I am completely blown away by the consistency that they're showing. I wouldn't be surprised. We're hearing a lot of bands lately these days who are unearthing old material from the 90s that was never recorded, or finally getting around to putting stuff out. Autumn Fall is a great example. Not that they're anywhere similar to Naked Whipper, but there's a lot of bands who are digging up a lot of old material, and I think we're seeing that there's such value in unearthing old bands, getting back together, just really revisiting those times and not rewriting any of the script. There's a lot of I think, value to be had in curating a lot of those relics of the past. So I would not be surprised at all if we found out that Chapel Defilement was actually like the follow-up album to Pain Streaks that never got around to being recorded. The band's been dormant for 30 years, like I said. So maybe they're just now getting around to recording the thing, but it sounds like it definitely would have come out in 1996. They didn't skip a beat. So I'm so excited to have something like this that just doesn't lose any ferocity. They're here to teach new bands a lesson in, really simplistic, not overthinking anything about the riffing style. Drumming is just not overcomplicated. There's really, I want to say there's nothing gimmicky here, but like, let's be honest, the Blasphemy influence in a lot of black metal of this style is there. And without it, we wouldn't have any of this sort of goat necromancy sort of stuff. Chris Moyen probably would find work doing Lisa Frank folders or something like that. I don't know what I'd be doing. But while I'm saying there isn't a gimmick, there is definitely like, it sounds a lot like something that Blasphemy would, share a beer with, if you will. So I'm really into it. I'm really into a lot of bands that are influenced by Blasphemy, even though I'm not the biggest fan of that band. I'm not the diehard fan. I think they're a little overrated, but Naked Whipper here are absolutely awesome and cannot be overrated. Check out Chapel Defilement on Iron Bonehead. It is out January 31st. I cannot recommend it enough. The savagery in the vocals is perfect. I've really never heard another band that can meld black metal of the Blasphemy ilk along with punky influenced grind. I think it's a perfect match, and I would be surprised if I heard anybody else pull it off as well as Naked Whipper. Let me know if you guys think there's any other bands that do this style as well as Naked Whipper. I'm gonna fight you on that because this new album completely rips Nuns in half. So yeah, check out Chapel Defilement. All the riffs are good. All the parts are good. There are no skips on this album. It is perfect! We'll see you next time. This is Brainsmasher, and thanks for watching Heavy Metallurgy.